y'all, JaemiO here, and it is SpiceBox Day. If this is your first time here, SpiceBox is a segment that I do every Monday at 7 o'clock, basically trying to help you get out of your flavor rut. Before we get started, please go ahead and find the subscribe button below if you'd like to see more videos from me, and go ahead and click the bell notification so you don't miss anything that I'm doing. So today's spice was suggested by one of my foodies on Patreon, and I'm so excited because it's actually one of my absolute favorite spices. I feel like it doesn't get enough use here in the States. I feel like it's almost exclusively used in chai, which a lot of people call chai tea, but chai actually means tea, so that sounds weird. But cardamom is actually native to India, and there it's used in almost anything from cookies and cakes to dal, which is actually today's recipe. So cardamom actually has a lot of great health benefits. Aside from it being a delicious spice that has hints of ginger and nutmeg and cinnamon, it actually can be used as anything from a breath freshener to actually a cancer inhibitor. Cardamom has been shown to relieve mouth ulcers. So oftentimes when we're sick, we'll go for over-the-counter medication, something like Mucinex. But cardamom actually has the same benefits as Mucinex without the potential for raising your blood pressure. It can also be used to relieve muscle tension, so you can add cardamom or basically the essential oils from cardamom to an oil and make like a massage oil, which can really help with muscle aches and pains. It can be used in an astringent to relieve your skin of blemishes, and it can also help with folks who have high blood pressure or retaining fluid. So cardamom can be used in teas beyond just chai. Actually, recently I started drinking a dandelion tea that actually has cardamom in it. It's actually really good. And the same tea could actually be used for folks who have respiratory issues like bronchitis or asthma to relieve those things more naturally. So I think one of the reasons that cardamom doesn't get used quite as much in the US potentially is because that it is one of your more expensive spices. It is actually the third most expensive spice on the market. It comes in third after saffron and vanilla, but I don't really feel like you should use that as a comparison because it's about a third of the price of saffron and vanilla. With that said, there are also substitutes for cardamom. If you don't want to go out and buy a whole container of cardamom before you try this recipe, you could actually use equal parts of cinnamon and nutmeg or cinnamon and ginger and create a viable substitute to the spice itself. Cardamom is really complex, so it does have hints of cinnamon, ginger, nutmeg, and part of that is because it is a part of the ginger family. The difference is we use the seed of it and not the root of it like we do with ginger, but it's got this warm, delicious taste to it that's just got just enough spice to it that just really makes your dishes come alive. Since today's spice was suggested by one of my foodies on Patreon, I wanted to use it in a way that this particular patron could definitely use it. So today's dish is vegetarian. It features lentils. So I started using lentils kind of by accident, I guess you would say. I had heard of lentils, but I never really had them before. And I actually had challenged myself because I wanted to integrate more fiber in my diet. And legumes are a great low-calorie, high-fiber option that you can easily add to your diet, but I don't really like beans. So I tried a bunch of different recipes with beans, and I stumbled upon lentils. I think I was just reading about high-fiber foods, and I kept seeing lentils. So I do really like Indian food, and I probably at some point had lentils in something, but they may have been pureed and I didn't really know that they were in there. So I like the versatility of lentils, and I ended up trying them and really liking them because they're not pasty like beans. If you cook them, like if you overly cook them, they can be really pasty and mushy like beans, but I like them a lot better. And so in this recipe, I only had a 20-minute cook time because I kind of like the little pop that they have. If you are a person that really likes lentils, you like them cooked down more, then you can cook this recipe for, I would say, 30 to 40 minutes. If you aren't sure if you like lentils, I would say taste this recipe around the 20-minute mark, see how you like the texture, and if you want it a little softer, keep cooking it, but maybe check it every 5 to 10 minutes to see how you like it. But for the most part, when it comes to dry goods like beans and rice and quinoa, it's pretty much rinsed very well. Now, I will say I've had a couple situations where I had beans and there were a couple rocks in them, but they also weren't pre-rinsed. So if you want to go ahead and soak them, that's fine. I don't at all think that you need to soak beans or lentils overnight, and I just don't see where there's a benefit to that. I get the same taste and texture from lentils and beans that I cook the same day as the ones that I cook overnight, and it's just not worth the extra time and effort, especially since I'm a person that just kind of goes in the kitchen and starts cooking. With that said, in these videos I try to make sure that I have suggested amounts in all of the ingredients, but I'm very much a person that kind of cooks on the fly, so I think it's good to have a basis of what you're going to use in a recipe. Different people have different taste buds. I might put, a teaspoon of cardamom and really be able to taste it, whereas the next person might need a tablespoon to really be able to taste it. So play with that. The measurements are really just the suggestion. So see what you like, see what you don't like, and then that way you know how to use the herb or spice later on. So with that said, let's get started.